Imagine for a moment that you are holding a single sheet of paper. In our frantic modern world, we have come to view paper as ephemeral, a mere vessel for a moment's thought. It is fragile, it tears easily, it turns yellow and crumbles into dust within a single lifetime. We write a note, we crumple it up, and we throw it away. It is disposable. But now I want you to close your eyes and transport your mind to a different time, to a quiet village nestled in the mountains of the Korean peninsula. Here, there exists a type of paper that defies this fragility. It is a substance that has weathered fires, outlasted wars, and defied the relentless march of centuries. It is said that while silk may last for 500 years, this paper can endure for more than 1,000. This is not just material for writing. This substance was once strong enough to be crafted into armor that could stop arrows. It is delicate enough to filter the harsh sunlight into a warm golden glow inside a traditional home, yet tough enough to pave the floors we walk upon. It breathes. It has a texture that feels like skin. It holds the spirit of the wind, the water, and the sun within its fibers. How can something so seemingly simple be so incredibly complex? How can the bark of a tree be transformed into a legacy that outlives empires? Today, we are not just looking at a craft, we are stepping into a philosophy of patience and resilience. We are going to uncover a process that requires 99 touches by the artisan and one final touch by you, the user, to be complete. Are you ready to leave the digital noise behind and touch the texture of history? Welcome to Culture Journey, the place where we travel beyond the maps to discover the heartbeat of traditions around the world. I am your guide on this adventure, and today, our compass points to South Korea. Specifically, we are journeying into the world of Hanji. The word Hanji literally translates to paper of Korea. But to define it simply as paper is almost a disservice. Born from the rugged landscapes of Korea, Hanji is deeply intertwined with the nation's identity. Geographically, Korea's rocky terrain and distinct four seasons create the perfect environment for the mulberry tree, the soul of this craft, to grow strong and resilient fibers. For over a millennium, from the glorious days of the Goryeo dynasty to the bustling streets of modern Seoul, Hanji has been the silent witness to Korean history. It recorded the Buddhist sutras, it covered the sliding lattice doors of the Hanok, and it wrapped the bodies of the departed. It is present at birth, present in daily life, and present at death. Why does this matter to us today? In an era where everything is digital, instant, and often temporary, Hanji represents the opposite. It represents slow culture. It reminds us that true quality requires time, and that there is a profound beauty in things made by human hands, in harmony with nature. So take a deep breath. Imagine the scent of wet wood and fresh mountain air. Let us walk into the workshop of a master artisan and witness the birth of the paper of 1,000 years. Our story begins not in the studio, but deep in the forest. It is high winter. The air is crisp, crystalline, and unforgivingly cold. The sap of the paper mulberry tree, known as dak, has descended to the roots to survive the frost. This is the crucial moment. If the trees are harvested in spring or summer, the fibers are weak, but in winter, the fibers are tight, dense, and incredibly strong. Farmers and artisans trek into the hills to cut the one-year-old stalks. This is the first lesson Hanji teaches us: respect for the seasons. You cannot rush nature. You must wait for the cold to forge the strength of the material. But we must understand that the quality of Hanji is entirely dependent on the purity of the local environment. In the famous Hanji villages, such as those in Jeonju or Wonju, the water sources are protected with almost religious fervor. The water must be low in iron and calcium. If there is too much iron, the paper will oxidize and develop rust-colored spots over the centuries. If there is too much calcium, the fibers become brittle. The artisan tastes the water. They know the mineral content not by a chemical test, but by the feel of the water on their skin. This intimacy extends to the dak trees. Farmers cannot use pesticides. If the tree absorbs chemicals, the fibers lose their sheen. Therefore, the cultivation of the mulberry tree is an organic process that supports the local ecosystem, creating a cycle of life that eventually ends up in the sheet of paper. Once harvested, the dark branches are stacked into large iron cauldrons and steamed. Imagine the sight of white steam billowing against a gray winter sky, softening the wood. Once steamed, the outer bark is peeled away. This reveals the black bark. But we are not done. This black layer must be scraped away again, painstakingly, often by hand, until only the glistening, creamy, white inner bark remains. This layer is called bakdak. Then comes the step known as tihi puli, the cleaning of the bark. This stage is not merely labor. It is a form of asceticism, a meditation in endurance. Imagine sitting for 10 hours a day, hunched over a stream or a basin of water. You are holding a bundle of white bark. Your eyes must scan every millimeter of the surface. You are looking for tiny specks of remnant outer bark, scars on the wood, or dirt trapped in the fibers. If you miss even a speck the size of a grain of sand, that speck will become a permanent blemish on the finished white paper. Grandmothers and mothers in Hanji villages would spend their winters doing this. It was a communal activity, yet a solitary focus. They would sing songs to pass the time, their hands submerged in icy water until they were red and numb. This sacrifice of comfort is woven into the paper. When you hold a sheet of Hanji up to the light and see its pure, cloud-like formation, you are looking at the result of thousands of hours of frozen fingers and strained eyes. It is a purity bought with pain. Here is where the chemistry of nature comes into play. The white bark is boiled in water mixed with lye made from buckwheat straw or soybean stalks. This is a gentle, alkaline solution. Unlike modern paper, which uses harsh acidic chemicals that cause it to yellow and degrade over time, this natural lye preserves the fiber's integrity. This is the secret to the 1,000 years. The paper is pH neutral. It does not fight with time, it flows with it. After boiling, the fibers are washed in clear, running mountain streams. Then comes the sound that defines a Hanji village, the rhythmic thumping of wooden bats. The wet fibers are placed on stone blocks and beaten by hand. Thump, thump, thump. This isn't destruction, it's creation. The beating separates the fibers without cutting them, allowing them to interlock later in a way that machines simply cannot replicate. Now, we reach the most magical stage of the process, the sheet formation. The artisan stands poised before a great wooden vat where water and fiber await their union. They add dakpul, a slimy sap extracted from the hibiscus plant. This natural glue prevents the fibers from tangling and slows the drainage of water, giving the maker precious seconds to work. The technique used here is unique to Korea, called Weibal. Picture the artisan holding a bamboo screen. They dip it into the vat and scoop up the liquid. But they don't just lift it out, they rock the screen. Forward, backward, left, right. The water flows over the screen like a tide. This rhythmic motion aligns the long mulberry fibers in a crisscross pattern, horizontal and vertical weaving. This is why Hanji is so strong. Most paper has grain running in one direction, making it tear easily. Hanji is woven by the water itself. The artisan creates layer upon layer, listening to the sound of the water, feeling the weight. It is a dance between the human and the element. Let me ask you a question here. If you were standing in front of that vat with your hands in the cold, starchy water, do you think you would have the patience to find that perfect rhythm? It takes years to master. The water reflects the mind of the maker. If your mind is turbulent, the paper will be uneven. If your mind is still, the paper will be perfect. Even after the wet sheets are formed and dried, the process isn't over. There is a final step called dokim. The dried paper is stacked and beaten again with a wooden tool. This compresses the fibers, making the surface smooth and dense. It closes the pores just enough to allow ink to glide without bleeding, yet keeps the paper breathable. It gives Hanji its signature texture, soft as silk, yet tough as leather. Let's understand the science here. Why is Hanji a miracle compared to Western paper? In the 19th century, the West began making paper from wood pulp using heavy acidic sizing. This acid is a ticking time bomb. It eats the cellulose fibers from the inside out, which is why books from 1900 are already brittle and yellow. Hanji, however, uses the natural mucilage, dakpul, which is pH neutral. Over time, as Hanji interacts with the air, it slightly alkalizes, essentially creating its own shield against atmospheric pollutants. Furthermore, the fibers of the paper mulberry are incredibly long compared to the short fibers of pine or oak used in Western paper. Long fibers mean more surface area for hydrogen bonding. When the Weibal technique crosses these long fibers, it creates a mesh that is more like a fabric than a sheet of compressed pulp. You can fold Hanji thousands of times, and it will not break along the crease. Try folding a piece of printer paper back and forth. It snaps after a minute. Hanji endures. We often think of paper only for books, but in Korea, Hanji was life itself. Consider the traditional Korean house, the hanok. The windows and doors are covered in Hanji. Why? Because Hanji acts as a natural ventilator. It filters dust, but lets air pass through. It traps heat in winter and allows cool breezes in summer. It is often called living paper because it helps the house breathe. And here is a fact that might surprise you. Did you know that Hanji was once used for armor? Yes, military armor. You might be thinking, paper armor? That sounds ridiculous. But consider this. When many layers of Hanji are glued together and lacquered, they become incredibly hard and tough, yet remain lightweight. This armor, called jeogori, could actually stop arrows and withstand sword slashes better than some heavy iron plates. It is a testament to the incredible structural integrity of these fibers. Furthermore, there is an art form called jiseung, where cords of Hanji are woven to create baskets, shoes, and even chamber pots. It is waterproof when lacquered. It is washable. The versatility is mind-blowing. Today, the number of traditional Hanji masters is dwindling. The Industrial Revolution brought cheap, mass-produced paper that flooded the market. For a while, it seemed Hanji might fade into a museum relic. However, there is a renaissance happening. Restorers at the world's most famous museums, including the Louvre in Paris and the Vatican, have started using Korean Hanji to repair ancient manuscripts and artworks. Why? Because Hanji is pure. It has no acidity. It is thin, transparent, yet stronger than the original paper being repaired. It supports the history of the world, not just Korea. Modern artists and designers are also rediscovering it. A new trend has emerged, printing photographs on Hanji. When a high-resolution image is printed on glossy photo paper, it sits on top. But when printed on Hanji, the ink bleeds slightly into the depth of the fiber. The image looks like a watercolor painting. It gains skin and texture. In the world of fashion, designers are twisting Hanji into threads and knitting them into vests, ties, and even socks. Hanji fabric is antimicrobial, eliminates odors, and dries faster than cotton. It turns out that the ancient Koreans had discovered a super material centuries before modern science caught up. Wearing Hanji is like wearing the earth. It keeps you warm in winter and cool in summer, regulating your body temperature naturally. I am curious. Knowing what you know now about its durability and eco-friendliness, would you choose a notebook made of Hanji over a standard one? Or perhaps use Hanji lamps in your home to change the feeling of the light? Why is it important for the world to know this? Because we are losing diversity in materials. Just as we are losing languages and animal species, we are losing the species of craftsmanship. If Hanji disappears, we lose a unique solution to preservation. We lose a texture. We lose a way of interacting with the world. The Korean government and artisans are working hard to get Hanji recognized as a UNESCO Intangible Cultural Heritage. This label isn't just a badge of honor. It is a lifeline. It ensures that the government will protect the mulberry fields from real estate development. It ensures that the masters receive a stipend to teach the next generation. By watching this video, by learning about this, you become part of that preservation effort. The sound of the wind. Before we end, let's return to the sensory experience one last time. One of the most poetic descriptions of Hanji comes from the sound it makes. Unlike the sharp crinkle of modern paper, Hanji rustles. When used on a door, it vibrates like a drum skin when the wind blows. It creates a low, soothing hum. It is a sound that Koreans associate with safety, home, and warmth. I want you to imagine a rainy day in a traditional Korean house. The rain is beating against the roof tiles. Inside it is dry and warm. The windows are closed, covered in Hanji. You cannot see the rain clearly, only the shadows of the water droplets sliding down the other side of the paper. But you can hear it. The Hanji acts as a membrane. It softens the harsh drumming of the rain into a gentle patter. It turns the noise of the storm into a melody. In a loud world, Hanji offers quiet. In a fast world, it offers slowness. In a hard world, it offers softness. This is the miracle of the paper of 1,000 years. As our journey comes to a close, let's take a final moment to reflect on what Hanji represents. It is more than just paper. It is a testament to the resilience of nature and the ingenuity of the human spirit. It is the story of water, wind, fire, and time, woven together by the calloused hands of artisans who refused to let a tradition die. From the frozen roots of the mulberry tree in winter to the golden light filtering through a window frame, Hanji connects the elements of the earth to the intimate spaces of our lives. It reminds us that true strength is not about being rigid. It is about being adaptable. It reminds us that beauty is not found in the quick and easy, but in the slow, the difficult, and the deliberate. There is an old Korean saying, Hanji is built of 99 touches by the maker and completed by the 100th touch of the user. This philosophy places the user, you and me, into the cycle of creation. Every sheet tells a story, and now, you know that story. Thank you for traveling with us today on this exploration of Korean heritage. I hope you can now imagine the texture of the mulberry fibers and hear the rhythmic splashing of the Weibal water. If this journey inspired you, or if you learned something new about the hidden strength of paper, please give this video a like. It helps us share these stories with more travelers like you. I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. What is a traditional craft from your own culture that you think the world should know about? Or simply tell me. If you had a sheet of Hanji that would last 1,000 years, what would you write on it? Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss our next adventure. We have many more mountains to climb and oceans to cross. Until next time, keep exploring, keep wondering, and keep the journey alive. This is Culture Journey. Goodbye for now.